Well, hello and good morning. My name is JP, and this is the Syncfrog Expert Hour for 4/23/2015. Today, we will be talking about um, integration with Sugar. So, Sugar CRM and I believe SugarCon is going on this week. So I thought, well, no time like the present. So today we're going to cover a couple of quick use cases, show some stuff that we can do with Sugar, and um, that's pretty much it. So I'm going to show the transformability, how to set up a leap to create an account, a contact, and a opportunity all at the same time, and a few other things. So, as usual, we'll start off with what is Syncfrog. Well, say to, sorry, Syncfrog is integration transform. We can take your information from SurveyMonkey, Twitter, Salesforce reports, Google spreadsheets, and forms and put it into your Sugar CRM, Marketo, Salesforce, and we also allow for business rules and custom scheduling so we can have our data leap scheduled and run at the same time. So, how does it work? Well, essentially, what we do is we allow you to choose your source and choose your target and then define your mappings over. So, just like any other data integration application, you just map what fields are going to what. Now, easiest thing I usually say is it's just like the word map, the word uh, draw game you played as a kid, where you had, you know, a bunch of words over here and a bunch of pictures over here, and you made lines from one side to the other. For example, it would be like toucan, and there would be a picture of a toucan down here. So it's the same thing, but we just use drop down fields, and from there, you just map your data over. So it's really simple. Okay, and how much does it cost? Well, it is free. All of our packages start at free. So, speaking of packages, here we are. So, all accounts are created as basic, and basic gives you two logins per connector, which means you could have two different sets of Sugar credentials, two different sets of Google credentials on your account. However, it does only allow you to do one data leap, and we'll cover exactly what a data leap is in a second. Also, only allows you to do manual syncing, so you can't set a schedule. Community support, which everybody gets, and it is also a price point of free. Now, bronze is pretty much the same thing. You get two logins per connector, except now you get five data leaps, and then you also have scheduling. What also isn't counted in here is the paid for version of Syncfrog has much better error reporting where you can actually retry your leap, whereas basic does not allow you to do that. And in our help, it actually tells you how to troubleshoot for both versions. You know, running a basic version and how to do it inside of a bronze, silver, or gold. Silver gives you three with 10 leaps and monthly daily scheduling, and they actually get some email support. One thing I want to say is almost all accounts have chat, as long as it's within our chat time window, which is Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Pacific Standard right now. So if you see a little chat tab over here on the side, that means somebody is available to answer any questions that you have about your leap. Gold gives you unlimited everything. Also has our smallest increment of time as well, which is hourly. Sorry about that. And also has a price point of $199 a month. So let's cover what a data leap is, and this is exactly what we have here. A data leap is a process of sending information from one place to another. So sending the results of a SurveyMonkey survey to Infusionsoft would be one data leap. The basic version allows you to set up one data leap. The paid versions allow more. Once the leap is set up, there is no limit to the actual amount of data you can send. So, what that means is if you set up that SurveyMonkey to Infusionsoft and you run it once manually, you can continually run that same leap again and again and again, as long as you log into Syncfrog and press synchronize. Well, activate, I should say. So there's no limit to how many times you can run that, right? So it can be run all the time. However, you can only have just that one leap. So, for example, that one was SurveyMonkey to Infusionsoft. If you had a Google Sheet to Infusionsoft on the same account, so that would be two leaps. Two leaps would give you um, those two, right? You have your SurveyMonkey to Infusionsoft and then your Google Sheet to Infusionsoft as well. That would be two leaps. You would need at least a bronze. Bronze would give you 5 data leaps, but also give you the scheduling and the advanced error reporting as well. And again, as you go up, you get more and more data leaps. And then once you get to the gold, you get unlimited data leaps, which we do have people using and, have 20, 30, 40 data leaps. And with it having unlimited logins per connector, they actually have multiple orgs that they're sending their information to, or waterfalling from one org to another, their information for opt outs and stuff like that. So, so again, no, all of our accounts come with unlimited data transfer, but you can be limited through your target system. And what that means is if your system has only allows for so many API calls a day, as we do use API calls to synchronize your data. And that's pretty much it for the frequently asked questions. I mean, there's no premium apps, so we don't charge more for synchronizing one case than we do in other. There's no paywall because you want to synchronize a Salesforce report to Sugar or something along those lines. There's nothing along those lines. All right, so let's go into Syncfrog and we'll create a data leap this morning. And I'm going to create a new data leap. And as you can see, I'm on a gold account. So I've got all sorts of test ones. There's a lot of Sugar ones in there. Litmus, a lot of Salesforce because we use Salesforce internally. So, here's some type forms, some tweets, lots of SurveyMonkey. So we've got lots of different leaps in here. And as you can see, it gives you a nice graphical version of what we're doing. So here's a lead create via the web form going to Oracle, apparently. So there's your icons for where it goes to, our mapping button. Activate. So if this is set to a manual run, if I set it to a schedule, you can see that we have a little gear thing that shows up. It shows scheduled. This shows the last time it was run and how many times it was run. So I recently had this account reset, so there's a lot of zeros, but I had several that were like 30 and 40 for this tally number. Okay, so let's create our new data leap. And like I said, today we're going to use Google Spreadsheet going to Sugar. And I'm going to set my credentials. And so we're going to say that particular Google account. I'm going to select the spreadsheet. And I only want incremental new rows from that spreadsheet. You can actually select all rows or incremental. As I'm going to be running this sync all the time, the very first time I run it, it's going to grab all rows, right? And then after that, it's only going to grab new rows added to the spreadsheet. So we'll click on next here. Give it our credentials for our Sugar instance. I've got a couple there. just takes a second to log into Sugar to make sure everything's okay. And we'll call it example 4/23, and we'll click on create. And we will go to the mapping screen here. All right, cool. So what do we want to do with our spreadsheet? And this is actually our spreadsheet here. So we have account name, contact first name, contact last name, contact email, opportunity name, which I realize is spelled wrong. Opportunity stage, I'm going to use a transform on that, and also going to use a transform on the close date for the opportunity. So let's map it so all this information comes over from our sheet. So the first thing I want to do is our account section, right? So we want to click on our CRM types here. Now you can see that we pull all your stuff in here. We also will grab any custom modules that you've built. So here's some survey feedback and surveys that I've created. And there's several feedback objects in here as well. And that's so I can grab all the information. So we'll start with the accounts first. And if you're not seeing something in particular in your SugarCRM types or you built it while we were logged in, you can click on refresh types and that will actually grab all of your modules again. So what it does is it refreshes the schema on the Syncfrog side. So I'm going to click on add new section for our account. Now, since our first row here is our account name, I'm going to use that to find or create our account. So we're going to do update existing or create a new record. And this is going to give us our first logic. And this is our where information. So our search criteria, right? So in my Google Sheet field here, we have account name, and we're going to use the name field. There it is. Okay. And that will find all of our accounts using the name. So it's going to search or either update it or create it. And if multiple records are found, I can only treat it as a error. And we are going to use the account name field. So this first part is our search criteria, this gray information here. And this is going to be our updating, and I'm just going to be using the account name, right? That's all this particular sheet has, so we're just mapping that over. Now I could map all sorts of stuff into it that you have in your account fields. You can see that annual revenue could be there, anything that you have in your sheet, billing information, billing city, fax number, if somebody still used the fax machine, any of that information that you already have inside of it. And you can also see that we have a ton of relationship fields as well. And we'll talk more about that when we get to a few other objects. So we can relate all this stuff to each other. And I'm just going to go into delete that. So check the box, click the X, and it's gone. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is create or update a contact. So again, we click on the drop-down box here, and we'll say contacts and add new sections. And you'll see that it pops it right there. So we have our first section here and our second section here. In order for us to create a new record, you can see that Syncfrog by default requires fields have been added to new section. So all of your requirements will be there. So again, I'm going to do update existing or create new record. And we're going to use their email address, right? So that's a pretty easy way to find somebody in the system. And again, we'll just use treat as error, and we'll say contact last name. Now we can map over other fields as well. So we have contact first name. If I type in first, not fax, first, and contact email address. Awesome. So there's our mapping for our contact. Now, one cool thing you can do inside of here is when you have large mappings, a lot of times people put things out of order and not realize it. You can actually drag and drop these as well. So if you want to move your email address for your own personal um, sanity in terms of getting things in order, you can go ahead and drag and drop it. You can also do that with sections, and that actually makes a lot of sense when we start relating things. Sometimes you need to do one part before another, right? You'd have to create a contact before you can create a case to that contact. So that makes life much, much easier. Now we also have, if we have an error, what do you want us to do? So if I get an error, we can stop processing this completely. I can skip the section, which would just skip section 2 here, or skip the source item and continue. So a lot of times people will say skip the source item and continue. When the leap is done on processing, you'll actually get a report saying, hey, I skipped this section and this is the reason. Um, so I usually say skip the source item and continue with this particular one. Now I do want to do a opportunity, correct? So I want to do a new opportunity as well. So you can see I actually ran this a bunch of times yesterday. Um, and we'll go through. So just like it would be, the account name is required, type new business, existing business, we can put in, um, and we can have all of our information, right? And we will have Syncfrog do an opportunity for us. So I will do opportunities and adding a section here. One thing I forgot is inside of our contact, we're not relating our account, and we'll do that in a second after here. So what we want to do is actually in this particular sheet, we're just going to create a new opportunity using our sheet here. So we'll say opportunity name goes to opportunity name. Really easy. I can use auto map fields to have Syncfrog try and map our column headers to what fields they belong to. Um, Results may vary. It has gotten much better recently. Um, and it's fairly easy to use. You can see it does account names, but it does try and do contacts relationship, which is not going to work. And expected close date, hey, that got it right. So I don't need these because I'm just going to map those by itself. All right, so we have close date is one of the things on our here. We also have our stage. We can see that inside of my sheet it says ops stage prospecting, and prospecting comes from Salesforce. This is mainly what I use the sheet for. So prospecting doesn't really work, right? Um, Inside of Sugar, you have existing business or new business. So what we'll do, or status. So when we go back into our mapping here, we want to, so we look at what fields we want to set it. So best, well, we could have a value put in. So our best could be a fixed value. And our best for this particular one is for just loading all opportunities of $25,000. And that's automatically going to do for the best. Now we want to relate this particular leap. Let's see. So we have best, we have expected close date. That's going to expected close date to our date field here. And what else do we want here? Well, we're going to tie it to our account. So we have accounts relationship. And we will say reference one accounts. And what that will do is from our first mapping panel here, we will grab the account ID from our updated / created account and use it in our opportunities field. We'll also do that inside of our contact here. That way our contact that would be created or updated will be tied to our account. So you can see that it only has reference one accounts because it's the opportunity object falls below it. So we'll say the same thing, and we will say accounts relationship. So we've just related our account and contact together. Now we can also do the same thing with our opportunity. So you can see that now contact shows up and contacts relationship. So that will relate our contact to this opportunity as well. Awesome. So what else do we want? We said that prospecting, we wanted the to be converted for us, right? So let's see. We've got, let's see here, sales stage, right? Because that's our, and if I want to relate to a campaign, we can as well. So type, let's do type. All right, so type, and we will say our opportunity stage here. Now I know what you're saying is prospecting is not a type for, and our close date going to a date field really isn't going to work either, because our close date field here we have in month, day, year format when that is not correct, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to set up our transforms, and this is a pretty cool thing that we can do. So how did we set up a transform? Well, let's see this little green arrow says create a value transform. We're going to click on that. It's going to bring up a drop down, and the type of transform automatically selected based on target field type. So it already knows SugarCRM needs to actually be in the format of year dash month dash day. It doesn't know my source file type. So my source file type happens to be in month, day, year. Could be in any of the formats. If I was using like a timestamp, this is actually using minutes, so this could actually go to a date time field as well. And so since my source file is month, day, year, and I can also set a time zone if I was converting this from Pacific to East Coast. You can set your target time zones, that way it knows as well. And we'll click on apply here. And you can see that my little arrow turned from blue to blue, letting me know that there is a transform applied as well. And I'm going to do the same thing with opportunity stage. And what that's going to do is give me a lookup value first. So we can do, besides dates, we can do lookups as well. And lookup just allows you to say when a value matches, includes, starts with, or ends with which the value is inside of here, then provide what was in that dropdown. So I'm going to say new business and what's the value that I want to have it match with, right? So prospecting, when it matches prospecting, then provide the value of new business. So it's adding more information to us. So it will go through our sheet, and if I had multiple values and stuff like that, I can actually set that inside of here. This is really good if you're using a survey and you have bookends on your question scale. For example, 1, excellent, and 10 being poor, or the other way around is 10 being excellent, 1 being poor. You can set multiple of these. So you can say, if prospecting or it wasn't prospecting, some other value, we can actually have it be new business for us as well. You can actually upload 500 of these through your source file. People have used it for account names, matching account IDs, because they already know what they are and they want to make sure the values match. We also can do other logic with it to use the source value, which would provide, if we get an error, or use a secondary value. So if matches this and we get an error, now we can just use a secondary value if we get something wrong. So that's kind of cool. And like I said, the CSV file, upload 500 of it. It'll load it, and then all of a sudden you'll get a big long list of your column headers. And it will match, matches include starts with, ends with. So 3 columns, it will automatically grab the first column and make it your when statements. If you only use 2 columns in the file, it'll just do your when and then statement, which is going to be this value, and then what that belongs to that value. All right, so when it matches the word prospecting, then we're going to get the value of the business. Now we can do cool things with transforms as well. We can actually do a lookup with a regular expression. So regular expressions allow you to segment data. So for example, if you just wanted the area code, you can put your regular expression in here, and then that will solve it. Inside of here, if the value is blank, then you can do something else. For example, this works really well for checkboxes. If the value is blank, then 0 to uncheck the box. Is not blank, then you can do the value of 1 for any answer they give you, and that will automatically check the box. Works really well. Really quick way to set up Boolean checkboxes. It really is. It's really simple, because otherwise, the other way to do it would be to add a condition to it and say, okay, close date, add equal to, and then we would have to add a fixed value inside of to check or uncheck the box. So our transform allows you to set it up really quickly and simply instead of adding conditions to check or uncheck boxes. And conditions allows you to set up particular logic. So you can see right there, I can set up a logic inside of here. If my opportunity name equals this, then that particular condition would trigger off that field mapping. Really kind of cool with the conditions, because this is for a single level, and we can also do it for the opportunity level as well. So what that means is we can say only created an opportunity if the opportunity name equals something or has data in it or anything along those lines. Not equal to, includes, starts with, matches a particular regular expression, all that information. So you can actually set your panels to be created or updated. This comes at a lot of times where people will do lead and contact mapping. If the lead is not found, that if the contact's not found, then just create a lead. Otherwise, go ahead, go through. All right, so we've created, and we'll go through this one time. I'll update or create a new record using the account name field from our leap here. Using the name field and our account name to our name, we're going to create our contact email, contact last name, contact first name, and reference our first part account, which will do our relationship. So this newly created contact / updated contact will be related to the proper account. Now it's also going to create an opportunity, a brand new one for us as well, and give us our opportunity name. Our close date will come across, automatically provide the best value for our currency, which is going to be $25,000. It's going to reference our first part of account and reference our newly created contact. So we can go ahead and click on apply. And for example, 423. Okay, and I'm going to scroll down. There's our example 423. So we'll go ahead and click on activate. And we'll click on run now. Now again, I can set it to a schedule, and I'll show you guys that in a second. So what this is going to do is grab our Google spreadsheet data, and they recently changed their API, so it's been a little bit slow recently. And it knows that there is 9 records on that particular sheet. So now it's going to start leaping that information over, especially with our transforms here. Okay, so we get an error, so we can look at it. So if I click on not processed, and since this is a paid account, it actually can be dumped straight into a Google Sheet, or I can remove it, download it as a CSV. If I click on error detail, we can see that. Let's see. Click on. All right, so let's do what it just said. Manage credentials. All right, so let's try and set that through again. Okay, so now that we have that set here, you can see that we have our one error. We say it's finished with errors, and we can view our log detail here. Okay, update. More than one account found where the name equals Manco. All right, so inside of our mapping, that should be easy enough to fix. Okay, so we'll just say skip the source item and continue. And we'll do that as well for contact here in our opportunities find. So we'll click on apply here and click on OK. And we'll scroll down, big long list again, and we'll click on activate. And we'll say run now. Since I have a paid for account and everything, I can actually run it from data. So it would actually grab the same Google spreadsheet that it would export to, and it would run it from that data list. So now it's going to try and grab the same exact Google spreadsheet this time. And since there's no new rows on it, let's take a look at it. Our errors here. Oh, the reason being is trying to go to the wrong account. Okay. All right, so we will add a new one. So go see one. And this particular one is um, their particular opportunity ends at 05/13/2015. You can see that I've added in there. Google has saved it, not shaved it, because that would be kind of a little weird. And we'll click on activate, and we'll say click on run now. And it's going to grab our incremental row, so we have one record processed. Should be the new one. And we can actually download a CSV or Google spreadsheet of it and select what account we want it to be. So if I want to put it as Google spreadsheet of it, or I can click on view log details and see it locally. So you can see it did a create an account, I create a contact, and create a opportunity. So now if I go back inside of Sugar here, there we go. So all of a sudden we have the name widgets in here and the account name of Mexico, our status of new. So let's see what widgets looks like. For some reason best doesn't come over. I think it's because you have to put it as likely, and it does some sort of weird calculation. I ran into that as well. Um, and expected close date is actually what it wants, not the close date. So you can see that it was created, and there's our contact. Here's his email, and I don't have, well, accounts is already up there. So if I go into the newly created account, you can see it's just Mexico, and there's contact Juan Riviera, and there's our opportunity as well. So off the same leap from my spreadsheet, what that has, what a few rows, so 6, 7 rows. Um, I've had a account created, a contact created, and an opportunity related to both of those as well. So that's really quick use case of how to do it. And the interesting thing is all of our sources are pretty much treated exactly the same. So you could do this with a Salesforce report and actually move data from Salesforce to Sugar. It's the same exact thing. It's just, column headers. Um, Google Forms, same exact thing. Google Forms just puts its data into a Google Sheet. So you're just grabbing data from the Google Sheet. And again, it's the same for you can get results from SurveyMonkey and have our SurveyMonkey results passed over as well. It's going to be the same exact thing. So that's going to conclude the expert hour for 4/23/2015. It's a little less than an hour, I realize that. If you have any questions and want to see different use cases about this, we have several use cases using Sugar of how to go about the same exact type of data leap. Also goes into more details with each of our connectors as well, of how do I connect X with um, Sugar. So if you have any further questions, feel free to hit us up there or just hit us via chat. And you can always email hello@syncfrog.com and we'll respond to you as quickly as possible. Thank you. Happy leaping.